Good afternoon and happy Friday to all of your sunshiny faces. Guys, we're headed out to Jack's football game, so I will include some footage for you guys. Like last week, I'm just going to record it on my phone though, so the quality probably will be a little bit different. But we're headed out there. It's been honestly, it's not supposed to rain. I checked the weather like 30 times today. It keeps getting dark, and then the wind though is like just, it's so windy out today. Like seriously guys. But because that'll get cloudy for like a couple seconds and then immediately it just like blows right through, and so then it's sunny again. But yeah, so we have that to deal with, but it's not supposed to like rain. Like I've looked it up, it's supposed to be sunny up until like, I don't even know, like it's, at least as far as I know, all night tonight, not supposed to rain. But it was thunderstorming in the morning, like early in the morning, or like last night or something like that. It woke me up a few times. I know at like 3 o'clock I ended up waking up, and then again like early in the morning, like 6 maybe or something like that. But it was pretty like loud outside, and right before I fell asleep too, it probably like around midnight, it was also thunderstorming. So it was pretty much like all day has been thunderstorming, but it was like 70 something today. But the only problem is that like it's so windy out that it's very cool because of that. But it's also, I feel like, kind of humid a little, just because we did have that storm and everything. So yeah guys, I woke up maybe a little bit late today. Honestly guys, I've been really lazy, and like I'll wake up but I don't get out of bed for like another like hour, 2 hours. Like I've just been really lazy like the last 2 days probably 2 or 3 days maybe. And so I woke up a little bit later, like probably 9 o'clock maybe, but I don't think I got out of bed until like sometime after 10 o'clock. Like I was on my phone, and then I was just kind of laying in bed like lounging around and stuff like that. And so yeah guys, anyways, I will include some of the football footage if I do end up having anything to film at the game. Well guys, so we're back. It's actually only 10:30. The game ended at like around 10 o'clock. The varsity game ended up ending at like around 10 o'clock. And it's a fast drive home from the high school for us. So yeah, I recorded one clip for you guys. That was literally it. There, honestly, I told you guys how I was like, oh, I didn't really feel good like earlier in the week, and I even ate before I left because I was like, oh, I don't want to be like super hungry, because it's like 4 plus hours like sitting at through both football games. And sometimes like I might get something from the concessions. My mom normally brings snacks, but like it's like not like a meal or anything like that. So I ate like right before I left. My stomach, guys, was so upset, like only during the freshman game though for some reason, and I like couldn't even concentrate. I was like, I feel like I'm gonna be sick. I was like, we're so far away from the what's it called, the bathrooms. I was like, I don't want to like be sick all over like in the middle of like the, you know, the fields, because we were sitting at like the 50 on the bleachers, and like the bathrooms are like way far away. I was just so scared I was gonna wind up being sick. But then I like felt totally fine after the well, maybe like halfway through like the freshman game. And I don't know if that actually was though, because I ate before I went to the game. But I told you guys like the last 2 days or something like that, my stomach's been kind of like on and off. And so yeah, but the one cool thing, guys, I'll let you guys know about the game, but one of the cool things was actually there was a harvest moon tonight, and so it looked super cool. It was actually just barely coming over the roof of the high school, and so I snapped a few pictures. I also took a really cool one of like during the football game with like the harvest moon in the background. It looks kind of cool, but they were all on my phone, so the quality was not the best, and I had it like all the way zoomed in so you could see. But yeah, it was kind of cool. The freshman game, honestly guys, the first the first quarter, I think, like the beginning, it was 0-0 after the first quarter. The second quarter started to kind of get away. At that point it ended up being like, I don't even know, like maybe 20 something to nothing after like the half or something, which like wasn't ridiculous. They honestly, the offense looked pretty good. They were actually moving the ball well, and the defense looked kind of good. But it was like weird though, because I think they had like one blocked like punt or something like that, and there was like a few other, like maybe a turnover or something like that, that just ended up like putting them in really good field position to get like a touchdown or whatever. And I think maybe they moved the ball like a little bit, like there might have been a few drives and maybe a score or two where it was, you know, probably more than like 50 yards they ended up going, but the other ones I think were kind of close if I remember right. And then after like the second half, it was just kind of like a blowout. I think the final was like 40-6. We ended up on the very last play, the freshman sophomore team, they ended up scoring a touchdown, so it was okay. But like my dad was saying too, the kids like are just exhausted, like they're just, after the first quarter, he was like, you know, like the kids just aren't conditioned well enough to like, you know, be able to keep like playing, like, and they don't condition them at all. The only thing they end up doing is they do like I guess high speed practices so that their like workouts or like their conditioning is practice, which in some cases can work for you, but honestly, the way I've always seen our practices go, and even to just knowing like my dad and Matthew, like there's no way that like we can have like a high paced practice like what they would be thinking. Like I just don't see how that works out, like, and knowing like and watching the practices from like the other team, like, and especially too when they like scrimmage themselves with the running plays against themselves, like you're not always moving, like, and you expect that to be your entire like practice is supposed to be like, you know, your conditioning. I don't see that as like happening or working. So I think that's probably what I have to say is like the biggest problem, because like looking at a lot of it, like I'm like, why do some of these kids just look, and the kids that like even played last year, like the sophomores, just look so gassed compared to how they did like this year. And they conditioned last year. This year they haven't conditioned, and like they didn't condition a lot last year, which were again the kids that I had 2 years ago in varsity at youth football, and those kids were like, I conditioned the heck out of them. Like they were not going to come out because they were quote-unquote tired. You know, I mean, if there was some crazy long, you know, like you had a 100-yard you know, punt return or kick return or something like that, you know, maybe then you were tired, but you weren't tired because you didn't condition well enough. Like I made sure that did not happen. So like the fact that it looks like the same way with the varsity too is like, I don't know, it's kind of ridiculous. Like it's high school football, you're a smaller school, you should be conditioning. Like don't, and like I don't know guys, like there's so many coaches too that are all like, oh, conditioning doesn't matter, like it doesn't matter. Like I've seen a difference in the kids that I had, which they should be getting better, faster, more like skillful, like not that they can get faster, but like, you know, just that their conditioning should be improving on from like year to year, and they should be able to have more endurance and stuff like that. Some of the kids, if they've been working at this since, again, they've been in youth football, and like they look worse than like then. So I don't know, just from my personal observation. And like my dad even mentioned that too. He was like, they just are gassed like after the first quarter. I think that's why it was just so hard to like keep some of those kids out on the field. And then the varsity guys, the varsity game was so amazing. At halftime, it was 8-14. They tried to kick a field goal like earlier on, so it would have been like, what was it, 11-14. They ended up actually getting it blocked, but it was 8, which we ended up getting the touchdown and then a 2-point conversion, so they went for 2 points on that. And then the other team only had 14 points. And guys, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the best. Like I really thought they were gonna win. Like the momentum was all in their favor and everything like that. And then at halftime, everything kind of changed. They still had like all this momentum compared to the other team. The other team looked just like really, like, you know, just down and deflated because of the way the second half had ended. Like we were all up and pumped and stuff like that, and there was a bunch of takeovers, like, and that kind of stuff. And they looked like really good, and like I said, just like our team looked more pumped up. And they came out, I don't remember what ended up happening. maybe they kicked off to us or something like that, and like I think there was a turnover, and then they maybe got the touchdown, and then we had like another turnover, and then like there was something that like I think when we finally did get the ball back on offense, like we threw an interception or something, and then all of a sudden the score just like kept going up because we kept giving them like field position like inside the 20, and like the game, like I said, guys, it looked so good at the beginning, and again, we were getting the ball to start the second half. I was like, wow, we'll actually win this game. Like, I totally had confidence, and it ended up like completely just breaking down. I think the final score maybe was, did they get the second touchdown? Yeah, they did. I think it was like 16 to like 41 or something, which, again, if we would have like held them, or you know, would have gotten maybe another touchdown and would have only let them have like another one, but it was honestly, the second half was all because of turnovers. It was really not the best. So yeah, guys, that's how the game ended up going for today. The freshman game honestly was less competitive than the varsity, and normally it's the other way around. Like, the varsity game is normally kind of a blowout, but I don't even really know. The freshman sophomore team just, to me personally, they just looked like the kids just looked exhausted. Like, we had one kid that ended up running for like a really great like touchdown, but by the end of it, I think he like cramped up or something. Like, he was exhausted, and we also have had a ton of injuries like already. I know like their safety's out, one of the running backs is out, I know like 2 or 3 other kids were like out for something else, and like there's been a handful, like I said, of like injuries and stuff like that that I know of. And then we had like another 2 kids get hurt during the game, and so it was not like I don't know, we just kept having injuries. But like, then the kids that have to play more of the game aren't conditioned to be able to play more of the game because they have to fill in for the kids that are hurt. Honestly, I know I like even said this too last year, but to me the biggest thing, and like, is conditioning. Like, Matthew did conditioning his freshman year, and then I think after his freshman year they didn't, and like, I don't know, you can tell like when a team that's really well conditioned versus a team that's not, and a team that like has endurance and can last the whole game versus a team that can't. And you can tell when they start running out of steam, and it's bad when you start to see that in the first and second quarter of the game. Like, you know, then normally at halftime you kind of get a little bit of that like, you know, wind back in you, and you know, you kind of feel good a little bit more, but then you really start to run out in third and fourth quarter. But we always called our conditioning fourth quarter, because you should make it to the fourth quarter without feeling like you're like gonna just pass out. And so yeah, they don't have that at all this year. Like, they don't do any conditioning, which I don't know. I'd love to see like an article or something that says like, conditioning in high school football is actually not at all helpful in the game. Like, I really love to know where it says that, because I've never seen anything, and I don't know of any other schools that don't do that, like, or that don't think that that's important, or you know, like, or how are their practices, if they don't, how are they like utilizing that time for doing those like high energy, you know, like fast, you know, like practices. Because I can tell you from watching practice, because I've been to a few of the freshman practices, and I went to the varsity practice I think like last year, which was where they were trying to also implement this. And I went to one of the freshman sophomore practices, I think it was a practice or something like that, but from what I've seen, they don't look like they're high like intensity, like they're supposed to replace your conditioning. I don't see those. And like I said, I don't really know that like how Jax's practice goes, is like how that works, and stuff like that. So I don't know, guys, but it was honestly, it was a really good game to watch. It was a really like just an entertaining game, which is good. It just fell off, like the wheels started falling off at the end of the varsity game. And for the freshmen, like, we were just looking for positives, I think, which was kind of good, the freshman sophomore team. But Jack didn't really have anything that he had, I think, was involved in like 2 tackles, and that was kind of it. But like I said, I'm sorry I didn't record more. I felt so sick, and I was like, I should pull out my phone, but I like couldn't even focus. It was really bad. I don't know why. My stomach was so upset. And I was like, should I go home like after the freshman game, because that's how upset my stomach felt. And then like maybe a little bit after halftime, like in the third or fourth quarter, then I started feeling better, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll stay. And I felt fine ever since. I don't know, guys, but it's kind of been like all week, like I've had very queasy stomach. So anyways, guys, I will see you all on tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I will see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. Can you guys tell though, I was yelling at the game, like that's how good of a game it was, because my voice is kind of a little gone. Anyways, bye guys.